How to raise our children with confidence. Why always looking on the brighter side isn't necessarily the best thing. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, The Happy Cast. This is me, Jyotika Bedi, your host, founder of Happiness is Love. And today I have with me an amazing psychologist and therapist, Dr. Shalini Sharma. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jyotika. Thank you.
Very excited for our conversation ahead. In our podcast today, we'll be tackling a topic that's very close to my heart, toxic positivity. And as we all know that even though that relentless cheerfulness and sometimes, we all put on that fake smiles and we don't know how to handle it. But Dr. Shalini is going to help us understand what toxic positivity stands for, how it impacts our children, and how to raise our children with confidence. Today, we're also going to unpack why always looking on the brighter side isn't necessarily the best thing for our mental health. So together, let's get real about the not so sunny side of positivity. Dr. Shalini, first, please tell us a little bit about the great work that you're doing before I move on to our first question.
Thank you, Jyotika. So I have been a therapist and a psychologist for the last almost 25 to 27 years. And a lot of my work is with young children and young adults. So a lot of work, especially on emotions, emotional intelligence. And I've always believed that I think it's very important to share these skills with children right from the beginning. Because it's something which we take for granted. Like emotions, feelings, wo to aa hi jayega, like on the way. People will pick it up. But we never really take the time to sit down and talk about emotions and feelings. So building up those skills is extremely important. And I think as young as like 3, 2.5, you at least start talking about different feelings and emotions. So a lot of my work I'm doing a lot of work with young children and slowly moving to tweens, teens, young adults, college students. So that's the kind of work I do. I do a lot of therapy with adults too. And I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Absolutely.
It shows. So you work a lot with parents, with couples and children? Oh, yes. Wonderful. So the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Emotional literacy is so important that it has to be, of course, taught to our parents, us first, and then our children, so we can model it for our children. And schools can support this with maybe emotional tools like an emotional dictionary. Children should be encouraged to say, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling mad, I made a mistake, and I'll learn from it.
Yeah. And you're so rightly said that I think it starts with us because we've not grown up with that. Nobody came to us and asked us, are you feeling sad, happy, confused? Nobody asked us that. So it's very difficult for us, I think, as parents to sort of share and pass it on to our kids.
And schools need to support this with emotional tools like maybe an emotional dictionary which says, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling mad, I'm feeling scared. And for us to be okay with the entire rainbow of emotions.
Absolutely. And you've so put it so rightly because I think as while we were growing up, we were not asked, how are you feeling? It was nowhere near. It was never asked. So it's so difficult for us to do that for our kids. So I think it actually starts with us. So even when I'm doing stuff with kids, it's so important to involve the parents in it because so that the whole cycle gets completed there.
Yes, and what I like is that when our emotions were earlier dismissed or denied or parents try to quick fix it, now parents are becoming more conscious. And with psychologists like you, because you're spreading more awareness, at least the conversations have started. At least people have started recognizing that maths and science important hai, equally important hai apne bachcho ko emotional literacy sikhana.
And I think COVID had a role to play in that also.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of shift after COVID where a lot of people are now finally realizing that emotions and feelings are important. Like they are the base of how we learn, how we treat ourselves, how we treat others. And decision-making, choices, emotions are actually at the base of it. So we might as well start knowing them better.
Correct. Well said. And can you please define for our audience what toxic positivity means to you and explain how it differs from healthy positivity?
So toxic positivity is more like is a belief that I need to sort of dismiss and push down all my so-called negative emotions and any unpleasant emotion so that I can put on a facade of everything is fine, everything is good vibes only kind of thing there. So that's basically what is toxic positivity. And it's also always, it can be done at our own end. We don't want to sort of face the reality. We can also impose it on people around us, where we dismiss other people's emotions, like you're becoming so over dramatic, why are you always oversensitive, don't become so emotional, there is nothing to it, it's a phase. So it sort of can affect ourselves and the people around us. And that's why it sort of, the dynamics between those two people can be very confusing and complicated then. So that's what is toxic positivity. And healthy positivity, and where we all often talk about optimism, it's more like we do acknowledge what is happening around us. We say, like we were talking a bit earlier, that you do acknowledge, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling confused, I'm feeling scared. So we acknowledge that part. That's the most important thing. And then we say, okay, what are the solutions? How do we move forward? Because we don't want to be stuck in that state. So then the solutions start coming out. But we don't push them, we don't dismiss them. So that's a very, very basic difference between toxic positivity and healthy positivity.
Beautiful. And but when you said acknowledgement, that's one part, and then you move on to just allowing your children. It's okay for them not to be okay. Let them sit with the feeling of discomfort. What we are trying to do as parents in modern times is quick fix the feeling. Ki no, you're feeling sad. Chalo bachche ko ice cream le jate. Chalo drive pe chale jate. It's okay to sit with your feelings.
Yeah. So I have this word which you were talking about earlier, the word pause itself. So it stands, it's an acronym.
Okay.
And I use that a lot in my sessions, and I share that a lot. So the word P in pause is actually pause. So in the world of feelings, we normally in our day-to-day life, we always say, why are you sitting? Get up and do something, right? But when it comes to feelings, it's just the opposite. Sit, don't do anything. So take a pause. So that's the P, which stands for pause. A stands for acknowledging what you're feeling. Like you said, build up a feelings vocabulary. I'm feeling sad, angry, disgusted, jealous, confused, embarrassed. That's our feelings vocabulary there. Okay, acknowledge. For acknowledge, again, there's a we need to get used to recognizing what's happening inside our body. We first recognize it and then we give it a name. So that's the acknowledgement part. U stands for understand what is the need underneath the feeling or emotion. Say, for example, I could be really, really angry at somebody, right? So that's the feeling, anger, and underneath is a need. So it could be a need for connection. I'm really, really desiring connection that time. It could be grief. It could be sometimes sadness, which is coming out as anger or irritation or annoyance. So we sort of move down, remove that feeling and see what is the need there. Then comes S, which is sit down with that feeling. Even if it could be a slightly little bit longer, like it could be 30 seconds more, 60 seconds more, but sit with that, feel it inside your body. What does it feel like? And then E is express it. Now, expression doesn't mean always outwardly expression. E could be also journaling, writing it down. E could be going and having that hard conversation, which I am avoiding. So that's the expression. E could be I go for a run, I dance, I listen to music. So that's the E part. So this actually encompasses the whole range of how we deal with emotions there. So that's why I say
beautifully
pause,
explained. Yeah.
make friends with feelings there.
Too good. I love it. It's on your WhatsApp DP. I saw it this morning. I quickly made notes. I'm like, it's such a beautiful way to make friends with our feelings. What happens is we tend to act out or react to our feelings. And I tell my children, it's okay to be angry, but it's not okay to yell. It's not okay to scream or shout or withdraw connection and affection. Sometimes we also show our anger passively. That okay, I'm angry, so I'm going to stop talking to you. I'm going to shut down and sulk. That's not okay too.
Yeah. And Jyotika, also another thing is like we can't be like this 24/7. We are going to be expressing it, but the point is that we start realizing that it's a skill. We can start practicing it, and we really, really need to acknowledge and be proud of ourselves every time we do it. So it's not possible that we are going to be these little Yodas and Buddhas around 24/7. Not possible at all. But bringing it up and becoming aware, okay, this is a possibility and I can work towards that.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's a lifelong journey. We're all in it together. And if we learn as parents, and it's easy for our children to follow by our example. So it's beautiful. We have three children. My older one is 20 and I have twin daughters who are 13. So in a house, conflict is celebrated. Conflict is the most important part of positive change and growth. So every time we have a conflict, it's beautiful. And I marvel now when I see my children expressing their feelings, but with respect.
Yeah.
And problem solving together to resolve that conflict in a graceful way. And of course, sometimes decibel levels go up, and that's healthy and normal too. But the fact that we are modeling effective conflict resolution at home through the emotional awareness and expression, I think is the greatest gift we can give our children.
Absolutely the greatest gift. Very
It helps us as a couple, it helps us as a family, it helps us build our community. And I think that's how one by one we will infect each other and the world around us.
Yes.
My next question to you, how can toxic positivity impact an individual's mental health and emotional well-being? And are there any specific groups of individuals who are more susceptible to this negative effect of toxic positivity in your experience?
So toxic positivity, basically, so we are actually dismissing our emotions. We are saying that they don't exist. We don't want to come face to face with them. So we are literally pushing them down. So there are two ways we deal with emotions, basically. One is we bottle them up, right? So that's dismissing it there. We just push it. Suppress it there. And we want to take it as far away from us as possible. So it's literally like taking your arm out and saying, okay, be there, not near me. So that's one way. And that's where, again, this toxic positivity comes up, that everything is okay. Things will get okay. I have to look at the brighter side of life.
I'm fine. I could be crumbling inside, but I'm fine.
I'm fine there. And that's one thing, the word fine, when I'm sharing stuff with children, normally when you ask them, how are you? It's a normal reaction, right? It's a normal response. I'm fine. I'm okay. So I literally tell them fine is not a feeling. It is not a feeling there. So when you say fine and okay, please look inside and actually figure out what is happening there. And so with this again, it's that the more we are dismissing emotions, they are bound to come out in some way. They will figure out a way to come out. There could be an explosion of emotions that time then. They pile up. And sometimes the other thing also happens is when we are talking about, so one is bottling and one is brooding. We keep it so close to us that we don't see anything around us then. So both these, we are not saying that you have to continuously acknowledge your emotions. Sometimes bottling is a very, very short-term fix there. Like something has literally happened, you compartmentalize it and then you deal with it later. So it's a short-term fix. But if this becomes like my go-to for everything, then that's where it becomes an issue there. And also, we are scared of facing reality. We are scared of feeling our emotions. We go a lot by logic, intellect. There's a logical thing for everything. I'll give you an example. For example, if somebody comes and says, oh, I don't like the way I'm looking right now. I've put on weight. So a person who's always like fixing things there would, like join a gym, follow a diet. But that's not what the person has, but the person has already tried that out maybe, right? Yeah. It's just the feeling of an emotional connect between two people so that I can feel seen and heard and understood. So that goes missing there. And it affects our relationships. It affects people around us. And like you said, if there are any specific people who are more susceptible to it, it's not an official diagnosis actually, toxic positivity.
Okay.
But we talk a lot about it because this is something like we've always been propagating, social media also. So it's basically like so your early years experiences, your conditioning which happens there, it just becomes a way of me to adapt. I feel safe maybe that time, avoiding my emotions, not talking about them. So that's an adaptation which I usually make in my growing up years. But then as I move forward in life, it comes in the way of so many things. So I think
For example, can you give some examples how it comes out, how these suppressed and repressed emotions and later manifest in diseases and illnesses? That's what I believe.
Yeah. A lot of your stress will show up as aches, pains,
migraines.
So is there. Yeah. because we are not able to express emotions, we don't know how to deal with conflict. We will avoid the silent treatment. That's all because we are avoiding, we are not safe expressing emotions. So I actually feel for people because they are not doing it intentionally. A lot of times it's not intentional. It's just that I don't feel safe doing it. I've never been taught how to express my emotions, how to deal with it. So I'm at a loss there. And sometimes when I'm dealing with people in therapy during our sessions, it's a shift and it's a change which takes place over a period of time. And bit by bit, we start feeling that, okay, when I do express and share, it's not such a bad reaction from the other side there. People are still there. They will not leave me. So it actually manifests in almost every area of our life there. And still we don't pay too much of attention to it.
That's the sad part, and that's why conversations like this will hopefully open a lot of people's mindset, and they'll be more open to expressing, labeling, and sharing their feelings. That's what I stand for. And like you beautifully said, that a lot of these emotions, these unexpressed emotions, and it's stuck in our bodies. And later in life, we again feel stuck, and we don't know what to do. We don't know how to process. We don't know how to express because we don't have the tools. And sometimes, Dr. Shalini, I've also seen in my experience that people, even when they're, let's say, trying to express a feeling, it's not always met with empathy or understanding. You're probably shamed for expressing that emotion.
And that's where avoidance starts coming, that I might as well not share. There's no point in sharing. So why should I go through this again? And like you were talking about, that feeling of when we are suppressing our emotions, right? It's a very uncomfortable feeling inside of us. And there is a constant need for me to shift out of it because I've never had the practice of being and sitting with that feeling, of tolerating that discomfort inside my body. So I'll shift out, I'll go and take a packet of chips. That'll make me feel better for some time. I'll go scroll on Instagram. I'll go watch a movie, a show.
Have
alcohol, eat ice cream. So it's shifting out. It's literally like, I don't feel good right now and I want to feel good, so let me shift out. So that's how this thing starts. So we have a term called tolerance for frustration. Okay, so it can be high, it can be low. So our aim is to actually practice so that our tolerance for frustration grows up. It could be in very, very small things, like if a child is building a tower or playing and it breaks. That's the time, like normally our reaction would be, okay, let me help you put it up so that I can avoid that tantrum which might follow there, right? So how we can actually build up that tolerance for frustration is letting it fall down, helping the child understand it can be extremely frustrating when I see something which I'm building up, it falls down there. And let it be there for some time, and then maybe ask the child, let's figure out how can this be made. And sometimes I also I'm always wondering that kids always see us as those people who know everything, right? So we ourselves need to model that there are so many things which we find difficult. Small things like opening a jar, which could be very easy for us but very difficult for a child. So actually modeling it, oh my God, this is so hard, this feels so difficult, I want to give up, I don't want to do this. And then bringing it back and saying some things like, no, I think I can figure it out, let me try it, I can do hard things, and then open it there. So this is just modeling it. We are not telling the child, look what I'm doing, do this next time. That like just spoils everything. We don't have to make everything a very, very verbal teaching moment. Next time, do this, what I'm doing. I don't think so the child is going to listen to us that time.
They learn more by our actions and doing than us lecturing and preaching.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just thinking of another example, like burning garlic, onion in the kitchen, right?
Yeah, so normal.
It's a normal thing, but then let's even express that even we have those emotions, we have those feelings. It feels frustrating, annoying. And at the same time, I think I can do hard things. We will figure out a way there, but it's surely annoying. It feels horrible, very unpleasant there when things like this happen. So I think small places here and there, we start modeling that to our kids. And that's where we build up that tolerance for frustration and sitting with it. I'm not able to solve a maths problem. A frustration builds up, I give up, I leave. Same way I'm working on my email, a project, an assignment. So those are the moments where we start building it up there.
Yes, and to be okay with making mistakes, it's okay to fall, it's okay to fail. We all learn along. That message is very important to send out to our children, because the minute children are shamed or blamed or shouted at for making a mistake, they're going to be very fearful of making mistakes. A and B, they will not be okay to share with you.
Yeah.
Then they will turn towards a friend if they are in trouble. And I think as a parent, your greatest achievement is if your children can turn to you for guidance, because you have modeled to them that you're human too, you make mistakes too, and you learn along. And it's about mutual learning and mutual growing.
Yeah. And here again, Jyotika, sometimes I think when we talk about mistakes, right? Mistakes feel horrible actually. I mean, none of us want to be in that position there. So sometimes growing early on, I think there's another message which we need to really, really share with our kids is that there's a difference between who you are and what you did. So if I got an A grade on my paper or I scored the highest in a match there, that's something which you did.
It's not who you are.
Not who you are there. And this starts again with very, very small examples there. So I'm not saying that we don't celebrate their achievement. Of course, we celebrate their achievement, but we also bring about the fact there that, say, for example, if you're studying for a test, your grade is something which you did. But the person you are is you maybe put in that effort, you did not give up, you took breaks, you knew when to sort of take a break there. This is who you are. The way you spoke to yourself while you were studying, this is all who you are. And this still remains whether you win the match or you don't win the match. So I think that distinction needs to start early on. Because I think we club these two together, and when things don't go our way, I mean, this is happening so much with young adults in colleges. When they don't get a good grade, they don't get a placement of their choice in companies, it's like the whole world collapses.
Yes, and because we parents also tie their self-worth to either academic success or academic failure.
Yeah.
So, and like you rightfully said, they start defining themselves, their self-worth by what they do rather than who they are. That's a very valid point.
And the distinction starts early on.
I think everybody should do pre-parenting classes before you become a parent. It's so
I wish I had that. I mean, I think that's so necessary. We take coaching, we take classes for everything. So why not parenting?
Why not parenting? Yeah.
Why not parenting there?
And parenting is about the parent. It's not about the child. That's why it's not childing. It's parenting. So it's about us.
Exactly.
Can you please share some healthy examples on how to encourage this positivity, this healthy positivity, without falling into this trap of toxic positivity?
So I think what you were talking about in the beginning, Jyotika, first of all, I think figuring out and saying that I need to be a cycle breaker at my own end. I need to do things differently than what was taught to me. And it's okay to do that. So figuring out maybe, and if it depends on the age of the child also, but I think it all starts with that awareness, which means recognizing what's happening inside of us and labeling it. And I think we lay a lot of emphasis on naming your emotion. And we also say that there's a phrase there which we say, name it to frame it. So once it's named, it's contained in a way there. Okay. Which means that why we say that is the scientific reason behind that is that when you name an emotion, it actually activates your prefrontal cortex because your language is part of that. And prefrontal cortex is all logical reasoning, solutions. So it activates that part of your brain there. And that's why we say acknowledge and name your emotions. And there's also, I think we also need to start letting our kids know that there is a difference. Like we always give these huge words to one feeling, like it's angry, sad, happy, normally 3-4 there, right? So I would still go ahead and get into the granularity of that, the emotion there, saying, are you feeling annoyed? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling furious there? And with very young kids, we can even say it like, are you feeling angry this much, or right up till the sky, or is it filling up the whole room? So you have some kind of, you make it more tangible, because feelings and emotions are not anything tangible there. So we need to get into that. Are you upset? Are you sad? Are you miserable? get as many of those intense layers into that. Because what we want our kids to also understand is that, because we always think that these are unpleasant emotions, these are emotions to be avoided there. But there is also that road rage kind of anger. But along with that, there is also an anger which makes you stand up for justice, which tells you when there's something unfair which is happening, and change only happens with that anger. You cannot have anger when you're complacent, you're very, very grateful, and you're happy. Change will not happen that time. So, just anger, we only take it as that road rage, yelling, screaming there. Again, for sadness, you also have that really, really depressive kind of sadness, but you also have an empathy seeking sadness, because that's the part which will allow you to listen to other people. If you're really excited, you will not be in a position to listen. And same thing goes for learning. Sometimes you always think that learning only happens when we are really happy. So if you're really excited, learning is not going to happen there. So it has to be slightly lower on that scale there. So we also need to see that each emotion has its place. It's not just unpleasant or a negative emotion. So we bring that up early on. I think it starts with us there. Maybe I always suggest, please put an alarm once a day just to do a check-in with yourself. What am I feeling inside of me right now? Take a moment and let yourself know, okay, maybe a part of me is feeling worried, a part of me is feeling happy, and a part of me is actually maybe grateful for something. And more than one feeling exists. It's not just one feeling there.
2-3 feelings can coexist, of course.
So many of them there. So it starts early on. We start using these words out here. We start using words like frustrated, annoyed, embarrassed, jealous. Jealousy is again something which is suppressed. You should not be feeling jealous. That's like a very bad emotion there. But I think each of these emotions are pointing us to something. They are coming in and getting a message. And mostly what it happens is, I always look at these emotions as these Amazon packages. They are lying up outside a house. We don't take the time to open them. And then suddenly the pile becomes so much that it topples over there.
Yeah, well said.
We need to actually take some time to open it and see what is it trying to tell me. And we also start using just one word for everything. I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed. What is it? Are you disappointed? Are you worried? Are you anxious about something? It could be that maybe I'm in a wrong job totally.
Yeah, feeling stuck. Yeah.
So it's important to start doing that early on there. And then also, I think another thing which we can start doing is I was telling you, that pause there. If we start doing it with ourselves, I think it's so important for us to be comfortable sitting with another person's feelings, especially our kids. Like if they are sad, our normal reaction is rona nahi hai, gusse nahi hona. Isme kya baat hai rone ki?
Yeah, you deny the feeling only, deny the emotional experience. ये कोई छोटी सी बात ले तुम sad हो रहे हो.
Exactly. And so that's where it starts. The self-doubt starts happening. I'm feeling a certain way inside, but my parent, who's my authority figure there, I'm dependent on them right now, is saying something else. So if that's a constant thing there, then we wonder when our kids grow up, why aren't they sure of what they want? Why are they always doubting? Why are they always asking? Why aren't they confident? Because we've not made them given them that practice because we ourselves are not comfortable with their emotion. So as a child, I'll also feel, oh my God, this is not a good thing for me to feel, because even my parent is not able to tolerate it. My parent is scared of these big feelings which come up. So I need to push them down. Because as a child, when I'm growing up, I want to get my parents' approval. I want their love, their security. And so I have to be a certain way to get that then. That means I start pushing this part of me down. And that's what I meant when I said it's an adaptation. It happens while growing up. It's an adaptation where we don't feel comfortable sharing our emotions then. So
Excellent.
I
So
think,
beautifully explained. Yeah, I love how you explain it. And in our house, we have like this emotional wheel. It's called the vocabulary, like a vocabulary, so that
yeah,
children can reach out the specific emotion that they are feeling,
yeah,
and then that helps them in broaden their vocabulary to help others. So
yes,
when people around them are feeling whatever, sad, mad, angry, they have the entire vocabulary to help them label their feelings. And I
yes,
want you to please help me understand how to help children with jealousy, because I know jealousy is an emotion which is shamed.
yeah, yeah.
So, how do you help a child who is experiencing a normal human emotion? Jealousy is a normal human emotion.
Yeah, yeah. I think firstly, we also would want to, and I think before we forget, there's this wonderful app called How We Feel. And it's a wonderful app. It's really beautiful because it lets you know how you're feeling, and again, various kinds of emotions. So if somebody who's really
Yes, it's
interested should really
amazing. Thank you for that.
go and have a look at that. And secondly, coming to jealousy, Jyotika, I think again, we also need to share with children the difference between jealousy and envy, because we confuse the two together. So jealousy is something like, I have my friend sort of comes to my house and becomes really really pally with my sister there, and I'm feeling jealous because I feel there's a loss of something which was mine. It's not supposed to be happening this way. So that's jealousy. It involves a loss of something which I think was mine. Okay. And envy would be like, I love the shirt you're wearing and I really wish I had it. So we like something there and we would want to have the same thing. So there's a difference between jealousy and envy. And I think making kids understand that is an important thing itself. And like I said, every emotion which we experience is pointing us towards something. For example, anger. Anger actually points us to things that things are not fair. There is unfairness there, or one of my boundaries has been crossed. So that's anger there. Sadness always involves a loss of something. That way, jealousy points out things which we know are important for us.
Something I may be desiring for myself.
Or important. I know maybe my relationship with my sister is really, really, really important for me there. And so when I feel that loss of it, there's jealousy there. So it's pointing me to things which are important for me. And I care about those things there. So jealousy again, so when jealousy comes up, again, the first thing we also want our kids to know that jealousy as an emotion, it's always, there's a mask. It does not exist on its own because it's not a socially acceptable emotion. So people will not really say, I'm feeling really jealous. I wish a time comes when we can say that.
That would be so healthy, right? If you're feeling the feeling, just say it and it's valid.
Very, very valid. It will always be masked with maybe anger because it's a more socially acceptable emotion. But underneath anger, if you peel it away, there will be jealousy somewhere there. Or underneath sadness. So it could be hiding, like for children, I always say, if you're feeling jealous, look at it. It will be hiding behind something. It's a mask there. So it could be anger, it could be sadness, and there's jealousy hiding underneath that. So first of all, just coming there, and I always also encourage adults, children, when we say make friends with feelings, we are also saying like friends, we first say hi to our friends, we get to know them. So when we make friends with feelings, you actually have a conversation with a feeling, which might sound very weird to some people, but it's like literally like saying, hi, jealousy, I know you are there. And I know you are there because you're coming there to point out to me that maybe this thing is really important for me and I care a lot about it. And I'm feeling this way. So this emotion, you make sense to be there. It makes sense for you to come here right now. And so I am understanding you and I'm not dismissing you, but you can be on the side there with me. I will not let you overtake everything of mine. And then I will figure out how to go about it. So which means I could either have a conversation with somebody, I could try and share what I'm feeling with the person there, and then try and see how I want to walk through this emotion of jealousy there. But letting myself know that it's bad to feel jealous, I'm not a good person when I feel jealous, it's not allowed. Those things again, then we tend to suppress our emotions there. So I think literally and also I think having a conversation with your emotions and feelings is a great, great, great way to process that.
And to come from a place of curiosity rather than judgment, because we tend to judge our emotions and we excuse me, feel ashamed of them. So can you please play this out? You explained to me so beautifully. I love it because I have twin daughters, and this actually happened last month, where the twins have a common friend, and that friend is closer to one twin. The other one did feel a little left out, even though that was not the intent, because the friend who came was initially closer to the other twin who felt jealous. So can you play it out for me? Can you just role model it to me? How, as a parent, one can just walk the other child through their emotional regulation?
Sure. So I would actually call my child there, the one who we think is feeling jealous, and let them know that I noticed, and we are not even coming up with the emotion first. We are not even trying to label it. We don't want to do the job for them there first, okay? So we want to get them there, and of course, I think all these talks, it also depends on the child, because some children are very, very averse to talking about emotions there. So there's different strategies we'll use for them. But a child who is fairly open to having a conversation, something like this could go like, I noticed when this person came to the house, it didn't seem that you were liking that person there, maybe interacting with your sister, and things were not going well for you. So tell me more about it. We want to use the word tell me more because we want the child to start expressing more, and rather than us giving those verdicts that you're feeling jealous, this is what you can do and that is what you can do. So I think with a child, like if it's a tween and a teen, let it come from their end. And I'm sure this was something which did not feel good to you. So I'm really, really curious to know what was going on for you, and tell me more about it. So in case the child comes up there, and then we want to just ask them, do you think it could be jealousy or envy? Like if they've already know the difference there. And also let them know that it's a very, very natural part of it. And I experienced jealousy so many times there. And do you know what works for me? Could be this. Like if I am facing the situation, I would actually think of jealousy as this character, and I'll have a conversation with jealousy, because jealousy is trying to tell us something there. And so, like, hi, jealousy, I know you are there, and I know you are there because I would like to have this close relationship with my friend, and I don't like it when it's with my sister there, and I feel as if there's been a loss of something there, and so it makes sense for you to be there. And let's just sit down with that emotion for some time and see what's happening inside of you. And maybe once a child is okay with that, you could always say that you don't have to do anything right now. You don't have to really, really do anything. But in case you need my help, because there's a part of you which might not want to talk about it, and there's a part of you which wants to express it. But if that part of you which wants to express it needs a nudge and a push, I'm there. I'm there with you throughout. And we'll figure it out together, whether you want to approach the friend, whether you want to talk to your sister about it, or if you do not want to do that, that's also okay.
Let the child problem solve instead of us trying to again jump in and quick fix.
Yes. And I think most important out here are not the words we use. It's the tone. It's the feeling of the fact that we are comfortable and we are able to tolerate that our child is experiencing jealousy, and my aim is not to shift my child out of this jealousy. And so the moment, so we always talk a lot about scripts and words, and I feel scripts and words, good, we do need some kind of a template there. But these words are not going to reach our child if the child doesn't feel safe, that feeling of safety which comes when I'm communicating with my child. So the child is going to shut it all out. So the tone, our own feeling of comfort. So please always have this conversation when you yourself have resolved emotions at your end there.
Yeah, that's very important.
It's not going to make any sense otherwise then.
So you have to create that safe space for the child to express his or her feelings and be okay with whatever shows up. And just that emotional validation and support is what the child is seeking. Nothing, no gyan, no preachiness, no lecture. Like you said, the words will not even reach the child. Just your presence of being there and showing that you care is enough.
There's this lovely example which comes to my mind, and this is not mine. I had read it somewhere. That when there's a person, imagine a person in a dark room, right? When you enter the room, the first natural reaction is for you to switch on the light and like ask, why are you sitting in the dark? What happened? And maybe the person just does not want the light to be on. They just want you to be sitting by their side. That's it. That's it. For they just want you to share the same experience, what is happening at their end. That's all what is required. But what we do is we switch on the light, we try and see what has happened to your room around here, why is everything so messy, what is happening there. So literally I'm passing on a message that you please shift out of your sadness or whatever unpleasant emotion you are experiencing, because I'm not comfortable with it. I don't know how to deal with it. I'm not comfortable. So please shift out of it.
I love that. That is so powerful.
That's something which I think we all do. I do it a lot
I'm
of
guilty of the same. Guilty of the same.
I do it the same way. But then suddenly it just strikes you, I'm just imposing my own, like I'm trying to fix something here by telling my child, shift out of it.
Yes, another practice that I've started, which has really served me and I'd love to share, is when my children come, teenagers, they come from school, they want to share. My children are expressive, so they come and this happened and that happened. And sometimes they just want a hug. So I ask, do you want to be heard or you want a hug? So I just spare that whole me trying to fix and analyze what happened. Yeah, mom, I just needed your hug. And that's enough.
Yes.
And that's love to them, because that need of theirs is being met, what they're looking and seeking in that moment.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
So what are some effective strategies in your experience for building true self-confidence in our children?
I think before we say that, let's first think, what is confidence? Because we all have this feeling of confidence is like somebody going on the stage and speaking or feeling really good about themselves. That's confidence. And I'm not saying that's not confidence, but I think confidence in the true sense, Jyotika, would be that I'm an extremely good feeler of my own feelings. I know exactly how I'm feeling inside. And that's true confidence. So that's why when we're talking about all these emotions, that's why it's so important for our children to experience a wide range of emotions. We don't want it to be constricted to like just happy, sad, angry. They need to have this huge range there. And so that is confidence there. So say in a class, the teacher is teaching and I'm not understanding the concept there. And normally I would say, okay, I'll look around and I'll say, okay, nobody's asking there. So maybe I'm the only one and I'll do something about it. But then maybe there's another person who raises their hand and says that I'm not able to understand this and I don't know about others, but can you explain it again? That's confidence. Knowing that I do not know it, I'm feeling confused and I give a voice to that confusion there. That's actually confidence there. And I think what we do, so unintentionally, a lot of us as parents, and I'm also guilty of it there, what we do is when kids come and tell us, okay, I'm not able to understand this, I'll be left behind, or I don't know if people want to play with me in the break, in the lunchtime, they don't like me, my friends don't like me, and then suddenly we think we are building up confidence and we'll say, oh no, why are you even thinking like that? Everybody loves you. You're such a wonderful person. And how is it possible that nobody will like you? And so that's really not building up confidence. It's actually diminishing our confidence, because the child is saying that I'm feeling a certain way here, but nobody else feels like that. So I start doubting what I'm feeling. And but here what we want to again tell the child is, okay, like something about this does not feel right to you, right? So tell me more about it. What's happening? Really, what's happening there? So let the child talk about it. Another thing which normally happens, I've seen that a lot, is children going to a birthday party and they don't want to mix around, and then parents are literally saying like, don't come near me, like don't be so clingy, look at all the kids, they're having so much fun, and why can't you go and play with them, you're the only one standing next to me there. That again, like we think that we are trying to encourage them and build up their confidence, but it's literally like, I am not ready for it. And I know exactly right now that I'm not ready for it. I am showing confidence that I'm not ready for it. I know it, I'm not ready, but you're pushing me to go ahead. And so it could be again something like, I know you're not ready for this right now, and you know exactly how you're feeling inside, and I'm right here with you till the time you feel ready for it.
And whenever you're ready, you can,
Go ahead and do that. And like I said earlier, if there's a part of you which wants to go, I know, and play with the others, if you want that, we'll figure that out and we'll figure out how we can do that. I can be there with you. And again, like swimming classes and this class, and sees a lot of parents pushing
too much.
their kids there. And I know there's a fine balance, because as we again start catastrophizing and going into the future, if my child is like this now, this is the way 15 years down the line, my child will still be like this. And that's the fear which starts coming up for us there. And then we fast forward. But again, this is so important, because I think we also want our kids to know what is comfortable for them and what is not comfortable for them. Because when they grow up into teens and young adults, there will be times when people will be offering them drugs, alcohol, whatever there, right? But that feeling inside me has never been built up. I've never had practice to say, because every time I felt something, it was said, no, you're not feeling this way. Like, there's no need to do that. So I think it's very, very important for our kids to have practice in saying no. And like, they need to say no. Like, I don't want this. And I think as parents, we normally tend to push that down, and we start with our own advice there. But I think that no's are so important for us to figure out, this feels okay, this does not feel okay, so that I can get practice in that. So it's like whenever I'm doing that, there's a circuitry which is being built inside my body. And I want that circuitry to be built as I'm growing up, so that when I'm at a certain position where my body says, no, I'm not comfortable with it, so I'm able to verbalize it and I'm able to say something there.
True. And we also want our children to say yes to us and not say no to us, because we want them to do as I say. So in our household, we encourage our children to say no. You don't feel like doing this right now. No is going to be received with love and respect, because that's how you learn to stand up and speak your truth. And it has to again start at home. You have to feel comfortable in saying no and standing up for yourself. So again, which takes me to our next question, that how can we as parents encourage our children to believe more in us, in themselves, rather than struggle with self-doubt? I also talk to a lot of teenagers and young adults every single day. And one thing that I've seen across is overthinking and a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah. So self-doubt, like we were talking, Jyotika, again, it comes with when my feelings are not like, I'm not able to express what I'm feeling, and I'm always getting the message that what I'm feeling inside is not okay.
Yeah.
So I will start, that doubt starts right there. And I'm not talking about just one incident like this. So I don't want parents to figure out that, oh, I did this that time and my child is like this. No, it's a series. It's like it's a continuous thing which happens over a period of time there. And so where I myself, I'm not comfortable with my child feeling a certain way, so I'll stop them, and then they will start dismissing it. So I think firstly trying it out with ourselves there. And like you said, sometimes when people are experiencing self-doubt, I think as adults, a small exercise for us to do is trying to figure out things like, I know for sure I am feeling this, or I know for sure I love this. Okay, like start noting it down somewhere. Maybe take just a minute or two and write down, I know for sure I love strawberries. Okay, I know for sure there's a part of me which is feeling worried and anxious right now. I know for sure that I'm looking forward to going out. So things which you are really, really, really sure about. So what we want to do is, there are two layers to it. I want to notice what is happening inside, and I want to layer it up with that feeling, I know for sure. So these two things, when they come together, that's the basis of building up confidence. Because what is confidence? Confidence is actually knowing what you're truly feeling. Because again, it is that trust in yourself, and that's what we want to build up.
And this boosts your inner dialogue also. Once you train that inner dialogue and we start talking to ourselves more positively, because we are so good at criticizing ourselves and putting ourselves down, it's time that we change that inner voice, we change that inner dialogue, so that we can boost more self-confidence and self-esteem.
And again, when you're talking about self-talk, Jyotika, again, we don't want to again go to that bright side always. We do want to let ourselves know that I am feeling horrible right now, maybe.
It's not feeling positive today. I'm feeling grumpy today. And
Not at
allowing
all.
myself that.
Yes, yes. So we want to acknowledge that part for sure. And then maybe say that just because I'm feeling this way does not mean this is the whole of me. It's just a part of me right now. But I will take it as this is the whole of me there. And that's where I start getting stuck.
Yes. And this is what I tell my children. Let's say I've had a hard day, I've had a tough day. So I let them know that I've had a very difficult day today. I need to unplug. I need to sit in silence. And once you express it to them, they get it. They understand that, okay, she's had a tough day. Allow her that 1 or 2 hours of her me time. And then once she's processed her feelings, she'll come out and she'll be with us.
Yeah.
So this practice helps you again be that model for your children. And now my children are modeling it.
Yes. And I remember when my kids were growing up, I did this, I came up with this concept of an elephant and an ant patience. I shared with them that patience is something like which is a muscle, which will make you wait sometimes. It can allow you to wait for things because things which you're not getting right now. So what we did was I told them sometimes my patience can be as teensy weensy as an ant. And that's the time I cannot answer questions. I don't feel like talking. I rather maybe sit somewhere, read a book there. And at other times, it can be as huge as an elephant. That's the time you can ask me as many questions as you want. You can ask me things, I'll answer them. We can read maybe 2-3 stories also. So what I actually did was I made a small thing where I had a picture of an ant and a picture of an elephant, and I had my picture there, a passport size photograph, and I would put it where I am.
Creative, I love it.
And I still remember my kids coming and saying, "Oh no, that's on the ant. Let's not go inside."
Oh, it's so nice, so healthy, and I'm sure they're doing it too now.
So I think it becomes it becomes like it's out in the open. We don't have to be all that cranky and irritable. So it's just a way of like even telling myself I use this terminology even now.
Beautiful.
Like my patience is ant size right now.
Right now.
My patience is elephant size right now.
Awesome. So creative. Dr. Shalini, it's been one of the most enriching conversations that I've had. Thank you for who you are, for the work that you do. In conclusion, I just want to let our audience know it's okay not to be okay. Please embrace your entire rainbow of emotions. Teach yourself and your children emotion literacy. And only once you imbibe it can you model it for your children, for us to make sure that there is a better, kinder world. Thank you so much. Would you like to say something in conclusion? Because this has been such a beautiful conversation.
No, I think the only thing I want to say is, first of all, thank you for having this conversation, because I think I'm always looking for opportunities to share this message with people. And I think the only thing I would say is like pause and make friends with feelings.
That's the best thing. That's my takeaway for today. The minute this podcast is done, I'm going to put it down on my notes and hang it somewhere behind my workstation. It's wonderful. Stay blessed. Continue to be a blessing to many. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much, Jyotika. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hope to see you soon. Bye for now.